I just put a simple chart for a lot of people understand. It's going to be a big pullback.
I like Chicken Genius, but he says that the stock market is going down. We will take a look at what he says and what would that mean to Tesla stock. This thick line represents S&P 500, basically the market. And you can see when S&P 500 goes down, Tesla stock generally also moves in that same direction. So if you know where the market is going, you sort of can tell at least where Tesla stock will go partially. And while obviously the market does move Tesla stock, what if Tesla stock goes back up to $300 or more before the market crashes, if it does eventually crash? Would Tesla stock then really go back all the way to $100 or even below that? That is not really clear. So I keep buying Tesla stock, but let's take a look at what Chicken Genius Singapore just said.
Is that a backdrop or like a real background?
This is a real background. Wow, look at that. Nice pool, we have a nice living. This is a huge house.
Yeah.
Liquidity leads the markets and the market leads the economy. So if you are talking about a leading indicator, is you need to go like liquidity, you go to the stock market, then you go to the real economy.
More liquidity means more money in the circulation. For example, the government's printing money, giving stimulus checks to everyone. But now the trend has reversed, and that is what Chicken Genius is afraid of. He believes that liquidity is the number one factor to consider if you are trying to time the market.
Example, during COVID, the 2020, a liquidity injection was done by the central banks. Boom. So what happened after that? The stock market went up. Boom. Second step. Third step, the wealth effect. Everybody felt rich. And obviously after that, inflation came along the way.
But it is not as simple as that. For example, Gary Black thinks that there's going to be no recession because the economy looks pretty good. And if things start to look bad, the Fed can cut the rates then. But Chicken Genius is certainly not wrong when he says that liquidity affects how the markets do. One really difficult part is predicting what exactly will the Fed do.
I believe there's a lot of money going in crypto, but there's a big caveat to it. If you realize the correlation of the crypto markets to the stock market, it is quite correlated.
5 years of S&P 500 in blue and Bitcoin in red. You can see when S&P 500 drops around here, Bitcoin drops too. And when S&P 500 rises, it doesn't necessarily mean that Bitcoin will rise, but when S&P 500 drops, Bitcoin drops with it.
Stock market goes up, crypto market goes up. The stock market has a very big overhang right now. This is a market bear market rally. So I think I just put a simple chart for a lot of people understand. Obviously, this is just technical analysis and it's just a very simple concept.
And this may come as a surprise to many of you, but even Stephen Mark Ryan now says that technical analysis makes sense. Although I don't think he means it. No, he definitely doesn't mean it.
If you notice, the markets are topping up and it's gone on the way down. If you want to go more in depth, liquidity is down for the US and the European markets. So there is going to be a big pullback. And this pullback of the stock market will bring crypto down together with it.
Chicken Genius seems to be rather confident here that indeed the stock market will certainly drop. Just like there was quite a bit of confidence here back in 2022 May. I'm still holding Tesla stock despite telling the world I'm ultra bearish. Why? You can't time the markets. That is right. I fully agree with that statement. And even 99% of actively managed US equity funds underperform, which presents another question to me. How many of these people in that 1% are also just plain lucky? There have to be some. So the chances of someone actually timing the market is probably less than 1%. That is, if you are an active investor who is trained to be an investor, a portfolio manager.
And obviously, I am very, very bullish I love to buy stocks, I love to buy crypto, but I know there's this stock market overhang and I do not want to put my money there yet. I think it's not wrong to sit on cash I know I've been sitting on cash for like a few months, almost to a year, I guess. Almost to a year. It's still a few months. In the grand scheme of things, a few months is not long. If you look at the whole market by itself. So this is just my overall take. Look out for opportunities. I think within the next year or so, a lot of millionaires and millionaires will be made if you are able to, sort your it out.
If I was closer to retirement, then I would hold a lot more cash. But I personally do not regret holding Tesla stock all the way through December 27th. From December 27th, we are up quite a bit, 81%.
Something I have never done in my life, or jumping butt naked. So none of them saw anything. I did it before they woke up. I did my morning routine, my finance, my exercise. I jumped in butt naked.
But it's very gross knowing that you jump in butt naked.
Getting wealthy is to be butt naked jumping into the pool every morning.
No, I don't think so.
That is why I like Chicken Genius Singapore. Although the butt naked part, that's a little bit, I'm not sure about that. And now let's see what's going on with Tesla. For example, Tesla's competition. That has obviously come. I mean, look at how beautiful this Audi is. And it costs $143,000. Okay. Well, if it's really fast and it has more range than the Tesla, sure, why not, right? Well, the range is 232 miles versus Tesla's 400 almost. Okay. The Tesla costs a lot more, right? No, it does not. And how fast is the Audi? 3.1 seconds. Okay. Wait. 3.1 seconds to 60 miles an hour. The Model 3 Performance does that for about 1/3 of the price, especially if you include the $7,500 USD tax credit in the US. There's not much point in comparing the speed between these two vehicles, but what is sort of really embarrassing for the Audi vehicle is that it has a 93 kilowatt hour battery and the Tesla has a battery of 100 kilowatt hours. So it is really truly stunning how Audi has a battery that is very similar in size to that of Tesla's, but the range is about half of Tesla's. Ross Gerber is calling for Tesla to start advertising, and at some point I believe Tesla will start advertising. SpaceX, for example, advertises, specifically they advertise Starlink. So it's not like Elon is completely opposed to advertising. But one more thing that Elon said during the Investor Day that I found very important, actually. We did not know exactly by how much demand would increase if we cut prices. After the price cuts, we found out that just by cutting a little bit, the demand increased exponentially, and he said that was very good to know. So I think there's also a little bit of this going on where Elon is thinking, does it really make sense for us right now to focus all of our resources on the next generation platform, or maybe it makes more sense to put all of these engineers on decreasing costs of a vehicle that, let's say, would look similar to a Model 3 or a Model Y, because if you cut the costs down by just a little bit more, maybe the demand explodes so much that it's just less work to lower the cost for these vehicles. Perhaps that's just a speculation. One thing I would like to point out, even though Tesla did say that FSD is 6 times basically safer, that is, when you engage FSD, you are a lot less likely to be in a collision, that could be partially because people are using it when it is easier to drive, for example, on a highway. And people that have been using FSD mostly had higher safety scores. That has changed recently because the beta is now available to everyone, but for a long time, it was only available to the drivers with the best scores. And naturally, you would think that people that have better safety scores would have less collisions. So This data is not exactly super clean, but certainly it is useful to see. And over time, as more people drive, because now everyone can drive with FSD beta engaged if you already had it, then over time, as Tesla gets more data, these numbers will reflect the reality a lot more. Right now, the data looks really good, but I just don't know for sure how good is it actually. But it looks promising. In Europe, diesel vehicles are actually very popular, and in Denmark, the Tesla Model Y sold more units than all combined sales of diesel engine vehicles in Denmark last month. It's a small country, and these numbers are relatively small, but still, the direction looks good. And from this chart, you can clearly see that Europe is moving towards electric vehicles. The electric vehicle sales here in green jumped sharply in Q4. And I just started my Patreon account where I will be posting exclusive videos. The first one is, warning, do not get confused, some Tesla investors did. And this is the Tesla stock buying opportunity explained by Elon Musk. My name is Matt Postius. Like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. The Patreon sign-up link is in the description down below.